Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's album review is on um, Fashion's 1982 album, Fabrique. This is their first album. They've been around since the late 70s. I'm fairly new to them, to be honest with you. I think every month or so, I'm going to try to do what I'm trying to do is add like two or three albums, from the 80s that I don't know, generally in the new wave category or something I'd like to that I haven't come across. Maybe I've been wanting to check out, or I maybe I didn't know about till recently. But um, this was my one for this month. That I don't have this record. I didn't never heard this album, and but I found them probably a couple years ago, and it's been on my list of albums to check out, and that's the good thing about doing these reviews is it gives me the opportunity to force myself to not really force myself, but you know what I mean, like to make sure I get one or two albums in at least every two weeks or every other 20 videos that I do. Because it seems like I'm getting into a habit of picking 20 pieces, and that's what I'll do a review on the next 2 weeks and see if I can fit it in 2 weeks. If not, it goes a little bit longer, but at least two new records every 2 weeks, if not two every month. And Fashion Fabrique is the one for this month. So yeah, this is my overall thoughts, and then I'll go into some of the songs and then go over the review. Um, Going into this, I was hoping to find a few good tracks. That's always what my goal is. I'm not necessarily expecting to be blown away or I'm expecting a great album. I think at this point in my life, if I haven't heard something that's new wave, it's probably for a reason. I feel like I've pretty much exhausted most of the artists, let alone maybe the albums. So it's getting quite thin on finding new wave or 80s music that I might like. That's very that's sort of in the synth pop new wave or even uh, I mean I do like new age as well, but ambient music as well. But also other styles too. I'm interested in other styles too. It doesn't have to be just like, I wouldn't say I'm interested in anything rock music per se, but punk and, heavy rock and stuff. There's some other ones I'm interested in, wouldn't mind hearing. But I'm always interested in hearing a new synthwave or new wave album that I never heard of, and this is a perfect time. And a lot of them, they're going to be ones that aren't well known in America because I grew up in America. So my goal was hoping to find a couple of good new tracks from this album, and I think I did. They don't really look how they sound. They sort of look like they're in Bauhaus or sort of look like Love and Rockets, but they sort of sound like uh, I don't know. I wouldn't say Scritti Blitty, but uh, Flesh for Lulu, but a more electronic version. I don't know. This is kind of Gino's Jezebel. No, they aren't that rocking. They're more electronic, but you get what I'm saying. They don't look like what they sound like. Um, it's probably a little bit more into Italo disco than people probably think. I got a lot of Italo disco vibes in this album, and maybe that's probably because Zeus Be Held remixed it, and he's known for being into disco, and I think he's a disco DJ, but also a remixer and a producer, and yeah, him producing this, it kind of gave me a little bit of disco vibes in here. But there is an interesting blend of funk and synth pop. You know, there's a surprising level of funk in here that made me a little bit surprised and interested. I'm always interested when, especially a band throws a is not just a new wave band or a synth pop band. Like they have something else to give, and if they're actual musicians that play instruments and they can play a bass, you know, even better. I always like some sort of live or some instrument sounds or organic sounds. Inside of my electronic music is always a good thing, especially for 80s music. It just gives it more of a timeless sound. Um, But there's a surprising level of soul that the singer sings in. He's an interesting voice. Like the track Soul Blue, the last track on the album, is surprisingly some soul in his voice. His voice is really interesting. Again, maybe more Italo house or disco than really synth pop. It almost reminds me of Freeze, aka John Rocca. They had the track IOU in the early 80s. They were a freestyle sort of electro act, a duo. They had a real popular song called IOU. Like John Rocca, almost the singer almost sounds like him. I do like the raw sound. I like some of the keyboards as well. When I think of the that's pretty much my overview on what I like. As far as the opportunities, the vocals are a bit roughly mixed. Almost, it's they're really kind of loud, and the overall sound sometimes it almost distorts, as do certain bass notes. Um, the vocoder kind of sucks in this album. Gotta be honest. There's two songs that use the vocoder. It's all right and move on, where it's not very successful. It's kind of strange. You're like, was that a vocoder? I don't know if that really worked. Um, but the vocals in it sounds like a not a well polished album, engineered wise or mixed. When I look at the tracks, there's 10 tracks. First track, Move On, I got 2 stars. Um, it's hard to think anyone. It's hard to think somebody like Daft Punk wasn't impressed by something like this. It sounds a little bit like Daft Punk for sure. I like the keyboards at the end. Again, the vocoder is not very good. I got 2 stars though. Love Shadow I like a little better. This was a single. I got 3 stars. It reminds me of Music for Chameleons by Gary Newman, if you know that track, which is famous for Andy Partridge show when he playing the air bass. Takes it off when somebody's at the door. If you guys know Andy Partridge, you'll know that episode. But the song that he's playing in the show is "Music for Chameleons" by Gary Newman, and this song "Love Shadow" sort of sounds like that. A little bit smoother though, nice. Almost has a new romantic vibe with the girl's voice in the background. Better voice on this one too. I think it's very good. 3 stars. Sweet Player, aka Mechanic. It's actually a single. Kind of surprised. I gave it a star and 3/4. I couldn't say it was a good track. Dress to Kill, 3 1/4 stars. More cohesive, better chorus and flow. Keyboards and the bass work really well together in this upbeat track. 3 1/4 stars. You Only Left Your Picture. I like the choruses. It's more melodic, more chill, more streamlined. Some interesting effects, but at time it almost distorts. We got 2.5 stars. Something in Your Picture. I like the bass lines and the keys. The chorus is okay though. It's kind of a subpar track. 1.5 stars. It's all right. A little too cheesy. Vocoder, not very good. I got a 1 star as an okay track. White Stuff, I got 2 stars. It's a good track. Do You Want to Make Love? A little bit better. 2.5 stars. This is kind of more of what I expected to hear by looking at the picture of the band and thinking 1982 and seeing that they kind of grew through the late 70s and the early 80s. I kind of felt like this is what I was expecting them to hear like. Track number 9, Do You Want to Make Love? Although not the lyrics part, but just the music part. But 2.5 stars. I like this much better than the last 3 tracks. Slow Blue is my 3rd favorite track on the album. Keyboards are nice. It's a little bit more adult sounding. Adds a nice piano. But overall, pretty good album. Pretty good album. I gave it a 23 stars divided by 10 is a 2.30, which puts it right around 55. So I gave it a couple extra points. I think it's a pretty good album. 58 out of 100. I found a good few tracks out of it. My favorite are Love Shadow, Slow Blue, and Dress to Kill. Those are my favorite 3 tracks. But yeah, Fashion 1982 album, Fabrique. 58 out of 100. Good album. Good album overall. All right, thanks for listening.